Hey guys, it's Mrs. Phillips. I would like to talk to you guys today about weather fronts. So last Friday we talked about air masses, and air masses they can be cold or warm. So if it comes from the north, it's going to be cold. If it comes from the south, by the tropics, it's going to be warm. Air masses can also be humid or dry. So if it forms over water, like the ocean, you're going to have more moisture, and so it's going to be humid. But if it forms over land, the continents, then it's going to be dry because it does not have that water like the ocean does. Okay. These fronts that we're going to talk about today have everything to do with those air masses. Okay, a front is literally just the front of the air mass. Okay, it's that boundary between them where the weather changes. And sometimes, if it's really drastic, you can actually see these fronts come in. So, like in this picture right here, you can see that line of clouds, or in this one right here, you can see that line of clouds. You can actually see these fronts come in sometimes. It's really cool. The three main types that we are going to talk about today: warm fronts, cold fronts, and stationary fronts. Okay, these are not the only ones, these are just the very common ones that we are going to talk about. Okay, so I'm going to try and get through warm fronts in this video, and then I'm going to do a second video to cover cold fronts, stationary fronts, and jet streams. Okay, so these warm fronts, it is warm air, and we know because of convection that warm air is not very dense, right? And so it rises. So whenever the warm air comes in and overtakes the cold air, it's rising over the cold air, and as warm air rises, we get clouds, right? We get rain because of these clouds are condensing up in the atmosphere, and so we can have rain. But the thing is, warm fronts, they're just kind of wild and free and just kind of lazy. They're just going to kind of move in slow. Whenever warm air rises slowly, it's not going to be very impressive, right? So it's going to be cloudy, gray days, a little bit of rain, but nothing too extreme. Okay, the symbol at the top right up here, you can see it's a red line that has these little like semicircles on them. I think of them as little suns, right? And suns remind me of warm, right? The sun is hot, right? It reminds me that this is the warm front because I've got my little suns right here. Now, what's important to note with this is that whichever side those little suns are on, that is the direction that it is going to move. Okay, you know that it comes from the south. It's probably going to be moving north, but is it going to be going northeast, northwest? Well, if you look at it, you can actually tell. So if I'm looking at this weather front that I have up here in the top right corner, I can tell you that it is moving northeast, right? It is going in that direction, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop here with warm fronts and meet me on the next video, and we will talk about cold, stationary, and jet stream.